Hi, welcome to the video. My name is Janelle. I have something super simple today. These work up really fast. So if you're looking for a quick and easy last minute either fall or Halloween project, then this is the one for you. A few weeks ago, I did a video on how to make a pumpkin cushion, which is right here. But I wanted to do a super simple mini version that would be quick and easy to make up. So the project that we have for today is this adorable little guy. So this one I actually made up a couple of years ago, and I no longer have this orange yarn. So we're switching up colorways, and today I'm going to be making it in sage green. But you can really do these in any sort of fall colors, so yellows or reds or browns or whatever suits your decor. This project comes together really fast. We're essentially just going to crochet a small ball and then do a little something to it at the end to make it look like a pumpkin. So the only techniques you really need to know for this are single crochet, increase, decrease, and magic circle. And supplies are fairly minimal as well. You need a couple of colors of worsted weight yarn. For my main color, I'm using this sage green color, and it's just Loops and Threads brand, which is from Michaels. And then I have a brown for the stem, but again, you can use whatever colors you like. You'll need some stuffing, so either polyfill, some sort of fiber fill, scraps of yarn, fabric, whatever you want to use for that. For crochet hook, I'm using a 4mm, and then additionally you'll need a pair of scissors and some sort of needle. I have a tapestry needle, but if you have a plastic yarn needle, that works even better. I think that's all you need to know to get started, so let's get into the tutorial. I'm going to be starting with our main color. So I'm using green for this pumpkin, but if you wanted to do a more traditional one, obviously you would go orange, but any sort of fall colors will work just fine. Yellows or reds or browns. So for this project, we're essentially just going to make a ball. So I'm going to start by doing a magic circle and single crocheting 6 stitches. So then for round 2, we are going to increase all the way around. So 2 single crochet into each stitch from our first round. So we're going to end the round with 12 stitches. The third round, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase, and then just repeat that pattern around until you have 18 stitches. Round 4 is going to take us up to 24 stitches, so we're going to do 2 single crochet and then an increase. And then just repeat that around. So then our last increase round will take us up to 30 stitches, and the pattern for that is 3 single crochet and then an increase. So that is it for increases, and now we're going to do 5 rows of 30 stitches. So I've done my 5 rows of 30 stitches, and we're now going to start on the decrease rows. So we're going to decrease each row by 6 stitches, so we're essentially just working in reverse. So for this next row, we're going to do 3 single crochet and then a decrease, and repeat until we are at 24 stitches. So the next row then is 2 single crochet and then a decrease to bring us down to 18 stitches. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease to bring us down to 12 stitches. So at this point, I'm going to add my stuffing just while we have enough of an opening that it's easy enough to get it in there. And you want to stuff this relatively tightly, enough that it will hold its shape, but not so tightly that it isn't at all malleable, because we still need to add our ridges. So we're going to need to have this still be able to be pushed in a bit. So I think that's probably sufficient. It's still fairly squishy, but it does hold its shape well enough. So I'm going to stop there. So we've just got one more round of decreases to do. So we're taking it from 12 stitches down to 6, so it's just going to be 6 decreases. So at this point, our ball is essentially done. So we can trim off the end, but leave quite a long tail. I would suggest at least a couple of feet, maybe even longer. Just trim that there. And then you can pull the end through your last loop just to bind that off. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to thread my yarn onto a needle. And I'm just going to run that through each of the stitches, and I think I'm going to do just front loops only, just to make things a little less bulky. And that can be pulled tight. And then this is the step that is going to turn our ball into a pumpkin. So leaving the tail attached, You're going to put your needle right through the center that you just closed up and push it right through to the center at the top. Pull that all the way through. And then you're just going to loop the tail around and go back through the center and do the exact same thing. So in through the center at the bottom and back out through the center at the top. And just pull the yarn tight. So you want it tight enough that it's pulling in and creating ridges. So that's what's going to make it actually look like a pumpkin. So then we're just going to keep doing that around until we have 6 sections. So I would suggest doing the opposite side first, just to make sure that your ridges are relatively even. So again, just in through the bottom, out through the top. Trying to keep the loops more or less symmetrical. And then I'm going to do mine with 6 sections. You can do more or less if you like. If you want to just do 4, that's fine. So I'm going to try to do 6. So I want to do about a third across the top here. Just pull it tight until it starts to form that ridge. And I've just got one more to finish this off. And there we go. So you can see all of the little ridges. So to finish this off, I'm just going to run my needle under one of these strings. And then I'm going to loop that through to tie a knot. And I'll maybe double knot that just to make sure it's secure, that my strings aren't going to come out, because I want them to stay tight enough to hold those ridges. And then I'm just going to take my needle, go back down through the center just to hide the end of my yarn. And then that tail can just be snipped off. So this is the basic pumpkin, and if you want, you can absolutely leave it there. But I'm going to do a little stem for mine as well. So I'm going to switch to a brown yarn. You could also use green, but since my pumpkin is green, I wanted to do a contrasting color. So we're going to start the same way with a magic circle. And again, I'm going to do 6 single crochet in it. And then again, for the second row, I'm going to do increases all the way around to take me from 6 stitches up to 12. So I'm going to stay at 12 stitches, but for this next row, I'm going to do back loops only. To finish this off, I'm just going to do 5 rows of 12 single crochet. So this is what my stem is looking like. And I'm going to leave a bit of a tail again. This one doesn't have to be as long because we're just going to stitch around the base of the stem. So just a few inches is good. And then I think I'm just going to slip this into the next stitch to bind off. I'm just going to add a little bit of stuffing to this just so that it holds its shape. And then this will just get stitched on to the top center of our pumpkin. Then once you get all the way around, you can just tie a knot. And then run your needle through to hide the end. And then trim off the tail. Et voila! Mini pumpkin. So that is it for our little pumpkin project. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And if you're just starting out with crochet, I have actually started a series for absolute beginners. So I will link that in the description down below if you want to check out those videos. I only have one so far, but I have several planned for that series. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!